Hey Credit Warriors, Credit Shifu here, and we have what some may call disturbing news for the Chase trifecta or the Chase Ultimate Rewards system. So yesterday, Frequent Miler, which is a very good blog for frequent flyer miles and credit cards and things like that online, put up an article where they have a quote which says, and I'll read this out to get it right, we've received a report from a trusted source that Chase is actively looking at eliminating the ability to pool points in a household and the ability to move points to a more valuable card. So for anyone who has multiple Chase cards and take advantage of the quarterly categories on the Freedom and then move that over to the Sapphire or Sapphire Reserve, you're definitely going to be kind of worried upon hearing this news. Now rumors have been swirling around about this for a while, so let's first look at some earlier rumors about this. Last year in July, Doctor of Credit actually had an article where they talk about a customer survey that a Reddit user did, which was from Chase. And basically this survey asked questions about putting limitations on transferring UR points between accounts. And the survey asked, how would you feel if, and then one of the following 3 points was to happen. So, and I'll put this up on screen, you guys can read through it if you want, but I'll read out generally what it was. So the first point was if UR points, when you transferred them to a more valuable card, they retained their original value. So with the Sapphire Reserve, we get 50% extra value when we book travel through Chase. If you transferred some of your points over from the Chase Freedom, those points that were transferred from the Chase Freedom would retain their original value. The second question asked in this survey was, how would you feel if points could only be transferred between cards at that sort of tier, that level? So no annual fee cards could transfer between each other, but they couldn't transfer over to an annual fee card like the Sapphire. So Freedom would not be able to transfer to Sapphire. That would obviously be terrible. And the third question was, how would you feel if points could transfer, but only at a 3-to-2 transfer ratio? So from Freedom over to Sapphire Reserve, it would be 3-to-2, so you wouldn't get the extra 50% because that would be wiped out. But that would be even worse because when you transfer to airlines, you'd only have 66% of the points that you would have had from the Freedom. So if we're looking at these 3 options, by far the best option would be the first one, even though you're still losing points, because when you transfer to airline partners, you'd still have the same value. You would just lose that extra 50% on the Sapphire Reserve or extra 25% on the Sapphire Preferred from those points that you transferred over from the Freedom. And this was in July, okay? And around that time was when news came out about Chase having to cut costs by $200 million in the department that oversees the Sapphire Reserve, okay? So you can see, you can see them already doing this. They cut the sign-up bonus, they changed the travel credit so that it is every card anniversary year rather than every year, so you can't get it twice in your first year. They did a lot of things to cut costs, and so it's no surprise that now we get another rumor that they're thinking of doing something with transferring points, because obviously the people who run the Sapphire Reserve, if you have people transferring points over from Freedom that originally had a lower value and now you have to assign those points a higher value, that's going to have costs associated with it. But let's look at the specifics of what was said in the recent leak to Frequent Miler. Basically, it's talking about getting rid of the ability to pool points within a family, within a household. That is a super useful feature of the Sapphire and Freedom cards used together. So we would be very upset if that was gone. And then also getting rid of the ability to transfer points to a more valuable card. Personally, I don't think they're going to go as extreme as this. Because that would eliminate just one of the major advantages of the Chase UR points system. There have been so many videos online talking about why the Chase trifecta is the best system for getting free flights. David Simmons, I think, did the original one that a lot of people watched. That was one of the first videos I watched when I got into this whole credit card points and miles game. And so eliminating that would be getting rid of one of the the major selling points of their point system. But you never know, sometimes people at the top of companies do crazy things. They're kind of disconnected from, the customer or people lower down. And it also just would be a step backward in general. Other companies, for example, Hilton last year opened up points pooling within a household. So they're kind of stepping forward with this, whereas Chase would be stepping backward. So what would I suggest you do? Is there anything we can do? Well, if you have multiple Chase cards and you have points on your Freedom, I suggest you transfer them over to the Sapphire Preferred or Sapphire Reserve, your most valuable card, in advance so that they're there because that's the one you're going to redeem them with anyway. So even if this doesn't happen, it's just a precaution. You're not losing out. And another thing is just, even if this does happen, it's not the end of the world, because in the points and miles game, things are always changing. Like I said, American Express and Hilton, they just opened up points pooling last year for Hilton cards, all right, for Hilton Honors accounts. Marriott and SPG have just merged, which means your whole balance of SPG points and your whole balance of Marriott points are going to merge, which definitely brings advantages. Obviously, there are a few disadvantages to that too, but the point of the whole the points and miles game is that you got to seek out the good deals. You got to seek out the advantages and maximize them, and just react when things happen that are not so good. React to the changes and adjust your plan accordingly. I, of course, do hope that this doesn't happen, or it's just limited to perhaps the first option from that customer service survey last year where points retain their initial value. That really wouldn't be so bad. All right, guys. Leave your thoughts in the comments below what you think about this. Please subscribe if you're new to our channel, and if you're new, you can also check out our beginners playlist, building credit, introduction to all this stuff. Give this video a like, and we'll see you next time with more credit card tips and tricks. Bye-bye.